Welcome, everyone. We are so happy to have you here with us today. I'm Michelle Maslin, Communications Manager for Support After Abortion, and we are thrilled that you're here with us for our session on being a person of faith in a secular healing space. Last month, our guest speaker, Monica Snyder, the Executive Director of Secular Pro-Life, spoke about connecting across differences, tips for client support. Monica talked about caring for non-religious clients from their point of view as an atheist herself. Today, we're looking at the same scenario, caring for secular people, and we're approaching the conversation as religious people, learning how to speak and care compassionately and in ways that can reach and then put off the people we want to serve. You all shared some great feedback on Monica's presentation last month. Here are just two of the many, many comments about the value in meeting people where they are. One said, "I loved hearing the secular view. My big takeaway is to think about it from their eyes." Another said, "Healing is healing. It shouldn't matter if you're Christian or of little or no faith. Abortion is lonely, and people need support to truly heal." Father Sean Monahan, who serves on our board of directors and has been a parish priest, retreat master, spiritual director, and seminary novice master, shared in one of our webinars a few years ago that we can't always lead with Jesus or prayer. Our role is to be the merciful presence and compassionate heart of Jesus. And that's what we're talking about here today, how you can be true to your faith without overtly showing or talking about it. As a Catholic, I found comfort and peace in hearing a priest confirm this truth. After all, if we believe God is at work in each person's life, we can let go of the pressure we may feel to evangelize or to be their religious or spiritual guide and focus on what they need from us today. In this case, our role of being their emotional healing guide after abortion. We're going to start with 7 groups of people for whom faith-based abortion healing could be an obstacle. This may look a little familiar if you were with us last month. The first 5 were named by Monica Snyder in that webinar. Those people who were never religious and don't relate to spiritual content, those who had negative religious experiences and left, those who had positive religious experiences and negative experiences with their loss of faith, those who didn't have any bad experiences but left for other reasons, and religious people currently in a faith crisis triggered by their abortion or abortions. And we've added 2 more because we have many clients who say they are religious, but they just want to focus on emotional healing right now and not be met with religious messaging. And we have clients who are of a different faith. Typically, faith-based abortion healing is Christian, which doesn't resonate with people of other faiths like Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Native American, etc. So these 7 groups of people are helpful to keep in mind as you consider what abortion healing program you offer.
So what do we do if they don't want to talk about God? It's a question we hear a lot, and one we're going to talk about today. What's really behind the question? Often it's less about the client and more about what we're wrestling with. For example, some providers share concerns like, if I don't talk about God, am I compromising my faith? Is it my job to plant the seed or to share the gospel outright? If I can't talk about God, what am I even doing here? What do I even say if I can't bring up God or scripture? And how can healing happen if the source of healing, God, isn't named? Will I be silencing truth by meeting people where they are? Some really great questions to ponder. So let's look at what's under the surface of these kinds of questions and concerns. Some underlying reasons for these questions include lack of non-spiritual tools or lack of confidence in using them, fear of watering down your beliefs, discomfort navigating healing conversations that aren't religious, wrestling with your role, abortion healing guide, faith witness, evangelist. Sometimes we're trying to do it all, and that just might not be where they are or what they're looking for. And we need to be okay with that so that we can help them find emotional healing and restore their well-being. Just to sum it up, some people fear that if they don't talk about God with clients, they're abandoning truth or not sharing truth. But what's really happening is that you're building trust, creating space, listening and connecting so we can meet people where they are. And lastly, trusting God to take it from there. The truth is that God doesn't need us to speak about him for him to work in someone's life. In fact, sometimes he needs our silence in order to make space for him to work. And our job is to love them, show compassion, and walk with them on their emotional healing journey. So ask God, what's my role today? Help me see what you want me to say and what you don't want me to say. But is it real healing without God? We also hear this question a lot. I'm going to tell you, it's a resounding yes. We see it. I lived it before I ever knew anything about God. So I'm going to share a little story with you. As in my bio, it says that I was a drug addict, and I was. I was a crack cocaine addict. And it had been some time in my addiction, and it just wasn't good anymore. It started out great, and it just wasn't good anymore. I was straddling the fence, trying to stay in touch with my family so they wouldn't worry about me. And I was trying to live the drug life, getting high all the time. And it was ruining my high, quite honestly. So I was really seriously thinking about just stepping off into that life, knowing that I was either going to go to prison for a really long time or I was going to end up dead. I was at home one night. It was like 10 o'clock. I can't believe I wasn't high because that was unusual. And people knew not to come to my house without letting me know that they were coming or without being invited because the police were looking for me, drug dealers were looking for me, and I just didn't answer the door. Well, there was a knock at the door and I didn't answer it. And then I waited a little bit and the knock happened again. And so I walked over and I peeked out the peek hole. And it was the only woman that I would never let come to my house ever. I mean, when I saw it was her, my vision just went red, like I was in a rage. I couldn't believe she had the audacity to come. In the next moments, I remember opening the door and holding on to it so tight that it was like like it was shaking in my hand. And all I wanted to do was slam the door in her face. But instead, I opened it and my vision cleared. And I saw that she had a bloody nose and a cracked lip. She had a swollen cheek. I knew that somebody had beat her up. I invited her in. I let her stay the night. The next morning, I took her to get her stuff and I got her to a safe place. Later that night, or the next day maybe, I remember a voice saying to me, "There's something in you worth saving. Don't step off." I didn't know it came from God, but it came from somewhere. It gives me goosebumps to this day. And that was the beginning of my recovery. All right, Niles, take it away, my friend.
First, I want to say thank you, Karen, for sharing that story. And as I mentioned, Karen always gives different insights and different information about her journey, and it's so beautiful. Thank you so much for that. As we get into the conversation about emotional and spiritual healing, we want to make sure we keep the thought emotional healing isn't an afterthought to spiritual healing at all. Emotional healing can be life-changing with or without the faith component. Let's look at what emotional and spiritual healing each entail. As we look at emotional healing, it is processing pain and emotions like grief, guilt, shame, regret, anger, and others, building emotional safety and stability, developing healthy coping skills, forgiveness of self and others, may include restored relationships, gaining inner peace, doesn't require a faith framework, can stand alone, or lead to other healing paths. Now, as we jump to spiritual healing, we want to keep in mind that for meeting clients wherever they are, connecting and reconnecting with God, exploring spiritual questions, processing spiritual doubts, seeking spiritual peace, purpose, and reconciliation. Part of some people's journeys, not everyone's, requires desire and openness, can't be pushed and prescribed, and can lead to other healing paths. When spiritual healing is important to a person, it's meaningful. But when it's not, trying to force it can be very harmful. If someone wants spiritual conversations, walk with them in it. If not, meet their emotional needs with compassion and excellence. If our goal is spiritual healing for every client, regardless of what they're looking for, we may actually be an obstacle to healing for them. I remember one PRC director sharing that she had personally seen hundreds of women turned away from their clinics because they only offer religious-based healing. Emotional healing respects the person's dignity, their needs, and their humanity. You can be part of their path to healing even without bringing religion into it. Our research shows that only 80% of both women and men said that they know where to go for after abortion support. So if they come to you and you say no, you can't offer them support or healing that they're open to, then where do they go? It probably took a lot of courage for them to even show up at all. And you may be their only place they have found that they can turn to. If your reason for saying no is because of your faith and want to only provide faith-based healing options, Consider if you leave someone with no healing is really better and consistent with Christ's love rather than offer them emotional healing. Every person you meet is navigating multiple life journeys. Could be medical, educational, relationship, addiction, financial, and spiritual and emotional. Each person's journey is unique and valid. Of course, in real life, you won't have a chart to know where they are in their journey. In these charts, the black dot shows the point you connect them with. Person one, their emotional and spiritual journey overlaps right where you meet them. They're open to both types of conversation. Person two, their emotional and spiritual journeys are far apart. They're only connecting with you on an emotional side. And we can't know if or when the two journeys might meet in the future. Person number three, their journeys are separate now, but they intersect later. You may or may not be part of the future moment. The key is to support them where their emotional journey meets you today with that kind of help you want right now. Now, the next question is, what do you do? Well, we have broken that down into 6 parts that you can approach when talking to clients. Start from a place of love and compassion. Listen to what people want. Meet people where they are. Offer options research based. Use tools and language that work, and also self reflection. The first step is to start from a place of love, empathy, and compassion. We serve just as Jesus did with love.
The second step is to listen to what people are asking for. You know, when I started out in a pregnancy center, I was tasked with the responsibility of finding out what abortion healing looked like. And what I found was that pretty much all of them were religious in nature. They were conducted in person and they were held twice a year, typically April and October. As we started to develop in our abortion healing programming, we started going to conferences. And I can remember distinctly at one conference, a woman came up to me and she said, "I'm an atheist. What kind of healing do you have for me?" And I had to say, "You know what? I don't know of one, but I will find one. Give me your contact information and I'll be in touch." She walked away disappointed that we didn't have anything right then, but she was hopeful that something would be developed or found for her in the future. So we started to shift what we thought people needed, and we started to listen to what they were telling us that they needed. And then COVID happened, and the virtual explosion just took off. I'm going to tell you, I was not a fan at first. I was skeptical because we always did our groups in person like everyone else. We would arrange the chairs in a circle so that all the participants could see each other. I needed a co-facilitator because if I'm listening to you because you're sharing, I want to be present during your share moment. I can't be looking at the other faces and how they're responding to what you're saying. With virtual, it's just the opposite. I can have 9 other people, 10 people on my screen, and I can see them all at once. So if you're sharing and I'm connected with you right now, I can still, out of my peripheral, see how other people are responding. And that just creates really deep dialogue within the group setting. So that's what we did. And I'm hopeful that you'll be open to pivoting in that way as well. Back to you, Niles.
Thank you, Karen. We'd like to share some listening tips from our after abortion line protocols. First tips we have is listen to what they don't say. If they don't mention faith or God, we don't either. We follow their lead. Listen to what they do say, religious or secular. For example, I can't talk to my family. They're so religious and I'm not. Don't talk about God. I tried to talk to someone, but they only wanted to preach at me about God. Don't talk about God. I'm so scared God won't forgive me. It's safe for them if you talk about God. I've tried praying and going to church, and God seems so far away. Ding, ding, ding. It's safe to talk about God to them. And ask in a neutral, compassionate way, because this is how we can really relate to clients and learn if they are religious or secular. When is the right time in the conversation to ask? For us, when they're ready to talk about options, to learn where we meet them with regard to religion, we ask, how would you like faith or spirituality to be included in your support? And they choose from the option that fits them best. I like support that does not mention God, a higher power, or anything religious or spiritual. I'm open to support that is either religious or secular, non-religious. I'd like the support that includes my Christian faith and belief in God. I'd like a Bible study that helps me work through my abortion experiences in deeply Christian way. I'd like support from a Jewish perspective. I follow a faith different would like to talk about support might be available to me. I'm not sure. I'd like to talk with someone about my options. Often when they mark that they're not sure, they want to know more about what exactly it means for the support to be religious. Often they do have faith, but they fear a harsh approach or being judged, shamed, or condemned. Let's talk about meeting people where they are. First, I'd like to invite Michelle to talk about why, and then we'll get into the how.
Thanks, Niles. So let's dig into why we meet people where they are. The Journal of Clinical Psychology published an aggregated analysis of 53 different studies with over 16,000 clients in 2018. The analysis showed that accommodating client preferences improves mental health outcomes. It's so important to create space for healing on their terms for what they're open to doing. Just a little side note here, we always want to bring you information from credible sources, and you can find that source info in the lower right-hand corner on the slides. The links will be provided in the 1 p.m. and recap emails. So those who want to dig deeper can read the original source materials. Our options-based healing approach fits perfectly with that truth that accommodating preferences improves mental health outcomes. We often talk about the many ways you can meet clients where they are, like group and one-on-one, virtual and in-person, clinical and peer-facilitated, anonymous and known, weekly and weekend, and religious and secular, which is the pair we're focusing on today. Besides what we've seen in our work and what our clients have told us, this approach was formed by what our research among women and men who have experienced abortion shows about the importance of offering options, especially 3 key findings in our research: the need for anonymity, the need for clinical care, and the need for secular care. While we're talking specifically about religious versus secular healing options today, we encourage you to look at the many other findings in our research, and you'll guess it, we'll have the links in the 1 p.m. and the recap emails. Let's talk about 3 of our research findings related to religious and secular healing options, and we'll get to a few more in a minute. Only 16% of women and 40% of men said they want a religious approach to abortion healing. 0 women and only 7% of men said that they would speak to a clergy member about their abortion experiences and struggles. And more than half of men and nearly 3/4 of women who experienced abortion said that they never or rarely attend church. This means that the typical religious, in-person, women-only abortion healing programming can only reach a small portion of the millions of people struggling emotionally after abortion. And that led to our options-based approach and the creation of resources like Keys to Hope and Healing, which we'll talk about later, virtual healing groups like Karen mentioned, and collaborating with providers such as yourselves to offer clients the full variety of options to meet their needs and get more people on the path to healing. I'd like to share a few key findings relevant to our discussion today from the most recent Pew Research Religious Landscape Study. The percentage of Americans who identify as atheist, agnostic, or no belief system is larger among people in younger age brackets. The highest percentage of atheist, agnostic, none individuals is in the 18 to 29-year-old bracket. That's the same demographic with the highest incidence of abortion. According to the Guttmacher Institute, 61% of US abortions are among women 20 to 29 years old, and 18 to 29-year-olds are about evenly split between non-religious and religious. Also, among 20-somethings who do identify as religious, the Pew Research study showed that the intensity of their religious practice is lower than older age groups. The study measured this by how important they say religion is to them, how frequently they pray, how often they attend church, etc. The higher percentage of Christians among older demographics may be a factor in their openness to religious healing approaches, especially among churchgoers, although you don't want to assume that older means religious. We have plenty of middle and older age clients who want secular, as well as younger clients. We will have links to these 2 studies in the 1 p.m. and the recap emails. The bottom line, the majority of people who experience abortion, and therefore the people most likely to seek abortion healing, at least for more recent abortions, are mainly 20 to 29 years old, atheist, agnostic, none, or low or not practicing Christians. And so supporting them And helping them find hope and healing after abortion necessitates approaches that meet them where they are. One more important piece of the puzzle before we shift away from the statistics. Our research clearly shows that both religious and non-religious women and men are impacted by abortion and want support. The first row shows the percentage of religious and non-religious women and men who said they experienced adverse change after abortion. About half of religious women and less than 1 in 5 non-religious women said they experienced negative change. For men, it was over half of non-religious men and 8 out of 10 religious men. Interestingly, even people who said they were not negatively impacted also said they either looked for help or could have benefited from talking to someone about their experience. And the biggest difference was among women who are an atheist, agnostic, or none. 16% said they experienced negative change in themselves, but 43%, almost half, wanted support. So across the board, the numbers of people who experience abortion who would like support is significant for both religious and non-religious individuals. So just like Monica said last month, it's not that you need to stop what you're already offering, not at all, or that you need to take on doing everything. It's about having a plan to meet each client where they are. What can you do with the staffing and resources you currently have? What might you add? And for options you don't offer, know who you can refer your clients to who want other healing. You can always refer them to us and we can connect them to other options. And many providers also develop local connections and collaborations, especially for clinical care. This flowchart provides one framework you could use as you assess ways you are or could meet clients where they are. You can see on the left various options for types of help, like regular groups, drop-in groups, one-on-one structure where you're going to work with them individually through a program, one-on-one unstructured where they just want to talk to somebody and they're not ready for a program, clinical, and whatever else you might be offering. So you put that option up at the top of the flowchart. Let's say it's regular groups. And then you look and you assess, do we offer religious? Do we offer secular? Which one do we have capacity and staffing for? What can we do now? What can we offer later? What could we refer out? And then within that, you look at, are we doing it in person? Are we doing it virtually? Do we offer it now? Could we offer it? Or do we need to refer that out? And then think through who could you refer to. Here are just two of the many comments we've heard from providers about the value of offering options. One said, since we started offering secular and virtual healing, our numbers have increased 300%. And another said, I'm so glad I talked to you. Before now, I felt like I had to stick to one curriculum. Now, I'm excited about being able to offer different resources to meet clients where they are. And Niles is going to share with you how you can find options for resources and options that you don't currently offer.
Thank you, Michelle. You don't have to do it yourselves when you look for these options. Our directory is a great place to look to refer your clients for services you currently don't offer. You can easily filter it by women and men, secular and religious, in-person and virtual, support group, one-on-one, counseling and therapy. And if you're not yet listed in our directory, you can reach out to me at niles@supportafterabortion.com. I'll be happy to get you set up and have you join our directory and get you along your way. My email address and a link to the directory will be in the 1 p.m. and recap emails. Those that know may have heard my story before in prior webinars. I was in college and me and a young lady found that we were pregnant. We were trying to find options just to have someone give us information for us to really find support and listen to our concerns, our thoughts, and what we are really worried about and what can we do from here. We found a clinic that was near her. When we went there, bless the woman's heart, we appreciate her for allowing us to come and see her. But we were asking questions. It seemed that she really was just going back to faith-based options. She was really pushing her faith, and it felt like her agenda. And I'm a Christian as well as my girlfriend at the time. We were Christians, but we weren't really there looking for that answer at this moment. We were just looking for answers and knowledge because we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know where to go. You're the only place we found that would let us in and talk to such short notice. So that actually steered us away from looking to any other resources or providers or clinics to answer our questions, because we felt if we visited anywhere else that they had a certain view or agenda, that they would push that on us as well. And that's just the story that I felt I learned from before I even knew about support after abortion. You just want to make sure you approach clients and meet them where they are. Even if they are Christian, let's not go towards faith right away. Let's see where they're comfortable and meet them where they're at. So the next big question is, let's talk about how to meet people where they are. We're going to look at some tools that work when the client doesn't want to bring God into their healing box. We're going to talk about secular resources such as Keys to Hope and Healing, assessing true and timely, best practice language, and connecting them with others.
Thanks, Niles. Keys to Hope and Healing is an introductory secular abortion healing resource. It focuses on processing abortion experiences and emotions like loneliness, anger, forgiveness, grief, the power of sharing your story, and how to handle hard thoughts and memories. It's non-threatening and it's really compassionate. The online self-guided companion videos allow for anonymity, and there's a downloadable journal. For groups and one-on-one, there is also a facilitator guide and training videos for the facilitator. And what I've so often heard people say, clients and providers, is that it's very simple, but really effective. A few words that some of our clients have shared about the impact of Keys to Hope and Healing are: Keys to Hope and Healing helped me to process the sad thoughts, regret, sorrow, and shame I used to feel. Keys to Hope and Healing saved me. I found compassion and understanding and a safe space with people who respected that I needed a secular path. I'm not ready to talk about my abortion experiences yet, so being able to go through this on my own is just what I need now. I felt so relieved to know that there was a group I could be part of as a non-religious person. And now I'd like to share what some of the providers say about the value of using Keys to Hope and Healing with their clients. Sadly, they're not getting help at all if they aren't ready for a faith-based program. This is a really new idea to me, meeting people where they are, but I see the need. Thank you for offering a secular resource. That's what the majority of our clients we are seeing are wanting and needing. I love the format of Keys to Hope and Healing. Truth is truth. We don't have to slap the label of the Bible on something for it to be true. In the 1 p.m. and recap emails, we'll share the link to a powerful short reel from Pastor Daryl Black, where he says to ask yourself, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it timely? He says, just because something is true doesn't mean it's timely. Even the right words in the wrong moment can be destructive. And that's speaking right to what Father Sean said. We can't always lead with Jesus or prayer. When you're tempted to speak your beliefs, ask yourself if it's timely for that client in that moment. And if not, then meet them where they are with what they want and need in that moment, and trust God with the rest of their healing journey. Back to you, Niles.
Thank you, Karen. So, some people ask us, if I can't say what I normally would, what do I say? Let's look at saying it differently. Compassionate words clients can receive. Many of these tips work for any client, not just for religious or non-religious clients, because often common language isn't grief care language. While faith can be deeply healing for some, for others, religious messaging can be painful and separating rather than connecting. These examples are for moments when religious language may create distance, especially for people who are not religious, are wrestling with faith, or feel distant from God. The ones with asterisk can be painful for anyone, including those who are religious. For example, can I pray with or over you? Can create pressure or feel disempowering. A better alternative would be, I care about you and what you're going through. Another one is, I'll pray for you. Can feel distant, loaded, or like they weren't heard or seen. Try saying things as, I'm here for you. Another one that can be offensive to both religious and non-religious is, the Lord never gives us more than we can handle. May feel like you're saying they should be coping better. Try saying what you're going through is overwhelming and it's okay not to be okay. Another one is, it's in. This can hurt because it invalidates or diminishes pain, implies purpose, divine orchestration, or justification, which can be deeply painful. Try, I don't have answers, but I care and I'm here for you. And then there with Jesus now. This better alternative would be, what you're feeling makes total sense. This is heartbreaking. And the last one, you just have to trust God. Places the burden on the grieving person to conform to faith in their pain. It's okay to feel angry, lost, or anything else you're feeling right now is a better way to say it. We have 4 solid tools that work for clients needs you don't currently offer. Connect them with support after abortion. We have options available in our directory. Connect them with other providers who do offer what they want. Collaborate in your area, especially clinical, but also others. And then, as I mentioned, using our directory. It's available to everyone. Back to you, Karen.
Thank you, Niles. As we're getting ready to close, I'm going to read 4 questions for you to ask yourself. These are really great questions, and I'm going to really encourage you to just press into them and see what next steps of implementation might be for you. Think about the one that hits you the hardest. That might be where God is inviting you to grow next. What does it take for me to trust that God can work without my? How will I love or help someone well, even if they never share my beliefs? Believing God's already at work in their life and that he'll keep working after I'm not in the picture anymore, that I'm only one chapter. What would I want that chapter to say? That is a great question. And what would it look like to trust that God is still in the room, even if I don't say his name or speak his words? So let's get back to the original question. What do we do if they don't want to talk about God? The answer is love, love, love. Lead like Jesus did. Listen to what your clients really want and honor that. That just builds a safe environment. Offer or refer options that fit what they want. You can send them to us or go to our directory. Be curious. Be willing to meet them where they are and be love. Let God's love and mercy flow through you without using religious words or talking about him.
So one question I'm looking at right now is, can you lead with secular and segue into the religious?
That's a really great question. And again, I'm going to bring it back to motive, right? We want to do what the client wants, right? If they want to segue into religious, that's great. But if we're kind of doing a bait and switch kind of thing where we're going to start it with secular with our intention to get them into the religious program, I wouldn't do that. Again, it's all about them. We go where they lead. I really think that has to do with motive. You want to add anything to that, Niles or Michelle?
Karen, I do have something to add to that. I think it fits in well. I saw a chat pop up asking, what's that have to do with motive? So I just wanted to tap into that a little bit because the part that Karen was saying about it going to motive has to do with the facilitator, the center's motive. Like Karen was saying, is it to get the people to religious or is it to help them with what they want and need at that time? And so if within a group, say, you've billed it as secular, but you're talking religious, then that's a bait and switch. And then within that group, if as you're talking about things, you're bringing in religious aspects, that can feel like a pressure to somebody and like you're trying to get them into religious. Like secular is your foot in the door, but we're going to get you to religious. So that's a motivation type thing. Whereas to do it the other way, if the facilitator isn't the one who's bringing religion into it, but maybe a participant is speaking to what their personal experience was, just like they might speak to their personal abortion experience or their relationship experience. It's all going to be unique to them. And there has to be space for people to be able to speak their truths. I remember a client verbatim saying, I'm secular, and they respected me within that group. And I felt it was a safe space. And it didn't bother me that other people were sharing their ways of healing because we were all in it together, kind of thing. And the facilitators speak about building up trust within the group. And so by the time the group is coming to a conclusion and you're talking with them about next steps, then rather than saying our next step is you go into religious healing, it could be, we have a plethora of options that you could do. Maybe you'd like to explore deeper into a childhood issue or abandonment or addiction, and we talk about unraveled roots. We also have this parenting resource or program that you can get into if that's the issue that you're dealing with next. We can help you connect with something else if something else popped up with you. And we also have a deeper healing program that is a religious one. So you're offering them a smorgasbord and you're letting them pick. You're not trying to navigate them through to it. And to the question, the answer is, of course, yes. There will be people within groups who want that deeper kind of healing, and there will be people who don't. So they all just need to be able to feel welcomed and safe in the space.
Thank you so much for that, Michelle. That was really great. If a client says they've experienced religious trauma, how can I reassure them that they're safe with me?
That's a great question.
It is a great question. I say trauma's trauma, right? I mean, trauma hurts. It's individual. People respond to it and react to it and get triggered by it in all kinds of different ways. I think the way that we create a safe place for people, no matter if they've experienced trauma or not, is to be vulnerable ourselves, to be honest and truthful, to be present, to allow them space to share if they want to or don't share if they don't want to. Again, this doesn't have to look a certain way. It never looks the same way, right? So whatever they bring to the table, just reassure them that they're not alone and that we're here to support them. And I think that does create a safe space.
Yes, and just to piggyback off of what you said, Karen, I think that's also comes with language and speaking and saying certain things. So if someone presents their trauma, and maybe you do have an idea of what they mentioned, experience yourself, I think saying I understand can sometimes feel a little bit like you're taking away and you know exactly what they're going through. And so like Karen said, trauma is trauma. Everyone has their own experiences as well as their own thoughts and emotions at that point. So when I am talking to clients or anyone in general, when we're having deep, very tough conversations, I said, I relate to you, or I'm empathizing to understand and be there in this place with you in this headspace, and to try to feel what you felt in that moment or how you're feeling now.
Yeah, that's really good.
How do I help my staff or board understand that secular resources don't replace faith-based programs? They just add another door for clients to walk through.
Yeah, I know that for pregnancy centers, that board buy-in to change is sometimes difficult. I guess the way that I would answer this question is that you could share with them some of our research that we went through during this webinar. I think a good place to start is with our statistics. You know, how many people are really struggling after abortions? And if they knew where to go for help, they would reach out. Michelle did a great job on the slides having to do people that are not people of faith. And I mean, are we here to help hurting people? Or are we trying to convert people to religion? You know what I mean? And so like we at Support After Abortion are here to help hurting people, right? And I think that's a compelling conversation that you can have. I don't want to turn people away. I don't ever want to turn people away.
They did see it flash through. Somebody asking if this webinar is going to be available in Spanish. And the quick answer is no, because none of the three of us speak Spanish. But the longer answer is when you get your recap email that has the replay, the video, you can go into YouTube and you can toggle that you want that in Spanish. And so the audio would still be us talking, but you can mute that if you don't want to hear the English speaking, but you would have the subtitles in Spanish.
That's great information. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you again next month.